I've got Asheebo Rojas from the Chatham News and Record and Coach John Berry's waiting in queue. Here's the agenda of items that we're going to cover this week on the Chatham NC Sports Update. Pretty much we'll start off with Asheebo, what's going on with the Chatham News and Record, his athlete of the week. We're also going to touch on the fact that the Seaforth High School boys basketball coach resigned. We'll give you a little bit of information on that. Get into spring sports are in full force. A lot of stuff going on, including boys volleyball over at Jordan Matthews. And then we'll bring on Coach Berry and talk about state high school basketball playoffs. We started with 8 Chatham County teams playing in the playoffs. We're now down to 2 Northwood boys and Seaforth girls. So let's kick it off. Let me get this hidden, and we will turn this over to Asheebo. So Asheebo, go.
Yeah, this week it's a lot of news coming out in the Chatham News and Record and a lot of things that happened with Chatham County sports last week. So, of course, starting with Woods basketball, they went up against Chatham Central in the first round of the playoffs last week, and it came up short to the Bears. But it's a story detailing their season, the turnaround from last year into this year, into head coach Leonard McNair's second season, and how they broke their single season wins record at the program of 7 wins. They got 11 this year and reached the state playoffs for the first time in team history. So a little bit more about their season and what went behind the turnaround there for Woods Charter. And then we have basketball playoff roundup, just going through the scores and some of the happenings in Chatham County's first and second rounds last week. And then we had a couple of Northwood athletes receiving some opportunities to showcase their talents. Jerry Powell, he got selected to the 2024 Jordan Brand Classic roster on February 28th. And we don't have any set details yet on when and where the Jordan Brand Classic will be, but it's an annual game featuring the top high school basketball seniors in the country, and Drake Powell will be one of them this year. And then from Northwood's football team, they had 6 seniors and 5 underclassmen invited to the Carolinas Coaches Combines. And these combines are held at different high schools in North and South Carolina between March and April, where they get tested on some measurables. And they'll also be wearing the catapult suits to kind of track their progress. They'll be doing things like the 40-yard dash, vertical jump, the broad jump, things of that nature. So a chance for some of Northwood's football players to go out there and get some looks in front of some of some other very good players between the Carolinas. And then, yeah, the big news in the basketball scene here in Chatham County is that Seaforth's boys basketball head coach Leo Brunelli resigned on Saturday. And in his one season, the Hawks went 10-15, had a 10-15 overall record, and went 7-9 in regular season conference play. They failed to make the playoffs, but Brunelli did miss 5 games from December 31st to January 23rd after dealing with a medical emergency that forced him on the sidelines. So, he had to come back after that and finish the season out, but he won't be back for next year. So Seaforth will be looking for a new head basketball coach going into 2024 and the 2025 season.
Yeah, let's touch a little bit about that. Again, I don't think it's a secret that Coach Amy is looking to move into a different position where he doesn't have athletic director responsibilities, and so there will be a new athletic director. My feeling from what I've seen, and I'm going to ask you about this, Asheebo, is that the new athletic director is going to probably be the one that's going to want to appoint a new basketball coach, and he or she doesn't have too much time because, you're going to start already preparing for next season with the basketball team. So what's your feel as to what needs to happen for Seaforth not to miss a step in this process?
Well, I feel like it may not pass on to the new athletic director just yet, just because, like, for the reason you said, they'll have to start getting things ready, before the summer, as far as starting workouts, getting the team, getting them already organized. So I think Seaforth will look to have a coach before Coach Amy takes his last day as an athletic director. So I do think it will happen probably in the next 1 or 2 months that we'll see them appoint someone.
All right. And then I'm going to be forthright about this. We've got a lot of followers. A lot of folks know me. A lot of folks are aware that I've been in the county for a while. I made a recommendation to Coach Amy last time when he was looking for a coach. I'm probably going to make the same kind of recommendation for whoever's going to be hiring. Again, Coach Berry doesn't know about this, but Coach Berry did coach a couple of my kids when they played at Woods Charter School. I think he would be a good addition to the Seaford. I mean, he coached JV last year. I think he applied for the varsity coaching position and was not chosen, but I think they need to relook at that possibility. Again, Coach Berry's out of this discussion. He wasn't aware that I was going to promote this, but I think folks who have watched this podcast and actually have listened to him commentate on our videos that we have been doing of the basketball games would be very agreeable to the fact that he's very familiar with the sports, especially basketball here in Chatham County. He's very familiar with parents and did a very nice job when he was a JV coach at Seaford, and did a very nice job at Woods, where he coached both the boys and the girls, not at the same time, but he was their coach for a while. So that's my personal opinion. It's not Asheebo's opinion or anyone else's opinion, but you know what? I think Seaforth needs to give him another look. And if you agree, hey, let the administration know about that. All right, that's all I've got to say. Asheebo, back to you. It's all yours again.
Yeah, and then now we go through some of the scores from last week. I know spring sports got started last week with all the sports we had going on: baseball, softball, girls soccer, boys and girls lacrosse, track and field. So just a rundown of those scores from last week, which are also in the roundup. But we're going to start with baseball. So Seaford got started on Friday with an 8-1 win over Green Level, and then they beat Graham on Monday, 15-0. And then for Northwood, they lost their first two games of the year, falling to Riverside Durham 7-2. And Northmore 7-1, but they got Northmore right back on Monday in extra innings, 5-4. And then Chatham Central picked up a win over Southeast Alamance on Thursday, 3-1. And Jordan Matthews, they started their year beating Eastern Randolph 3-1 on Thursday. And in that one, senior Ian McMillan, he had a 2-run homer in the fifth inning to seal the win in that one. And then from last week of softball, we had Seaford opening their season with an 11-3 loss to Providence Grove, but they came back with a 15-0 win over Graham on Monday. And then Northwood, they start the year with an 18-0 win over Carborough on February 26th. And in that one, 8 different Northwood batters, they got a hit in that one. That was just complete domination by them. Jasmine Wachowski, she recorded 3 hits and 2 RBIs herself in that one. But on Thursday, they lost to Northmore 9-0, and Northwood also lost to Southeast Alamance 10-5 on Monday. And then Chatham Central, they picked up a dominant 15-0 win over East Chapel Hill Thursday, and Jordan Matthews lost to Eastern Randolph 5-0. Also on Chatham Central's win over East Chapel Hill, we'll have a story on that one coming out in the paper with more details on that one. Chatham Central, in that one, that was a matter of the young players stepping up, because they still had some players playing on the basketball team, some of their veterans like Carolee Dotson and Kelsey Hussey, that they'll be getting back really soon here after the Bears lost in the playoffs last night. In the girls soccer, we had Seaford. They won their season opener over Southern Durham 9-0, and they beat NCSSM Durham on Monday 4-1. And in Northwood, they lost to Western Alamance 9-0 on February 26th. And they followed that with a 6-0 win over Southern Alamance Thursday. And then the Chargers then lost to Western Alamance Monday, 11-2. And then Jordan Matthews, they started their year with a 5-0 win over Southwestern Randolph on February 26th. And then Woods Charter Girls Soccer, they lost to Franklin Academy 3-1 on the 28th, but tied 2-2 with Swansboro on Friday. And then on Monday, Woods Charter beat Croatan 5-1. On Saturday. That was on Saturday. And then we had some boys across as well with Seaford. They lost their season opener to East Chapel Hill 12-9. But they followed that with a 15-8 win over Cedar Ridge on Thursday. And then Monday, the Hawks got back with another win over Southeast Alamance 21-2. In girls lacrosse, Seaford girls also lost their season opener. This one to Apex 17-2. But Northwood, their girls also lost to Pinecrest 18-6 on Thursday, and then lost to Union Pines Monday 18-6. And then in track, we had the Jordan Matthews home meet on Thursday with many of our Chatham County schools. And we have plenty of first place finishers from the county that will be listed in the roundup in the Chatham News and Record. And before we get into the specifics of that track meet and the athlete of the week coming out of that one, just want to recap boys tennis from last week. Seaforth boys tennis team beat Union Pines 9-0 on February 26th. They beat Carborough 5-4 on Saturday, and Union Pines again on Monday 9-0. Northwoods boys tennis, they beat Northmore on February 26th 7-2, and Chatham Charter beat Jordan Matthews 9-0 on February 26th. And back to track, our athlete of the week this week is Lucas Smith from Chatham Charter. And last week in Jordan Matthews' home meet, he ran a 10.85 second 100-meter dash to finish first place in that event. He also finished first place in the 200-meter dash with a time of 22.23 seconds and a 400-meter dash with a time of 51 seconds flat. So congrats to Lucas Smith. He signed recently last month to run track at UNCW. So he's looking forward to finishing his high school career strong on the track and before he goes off to run in Wilmington.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of stuff going on the sports besides basketball, which we're going to get in next. I actually just want to put up this picture. AI is dangerous. And right there is an AI-generated image of Asheebo, Coach Berry, and me doing the podcast live stream. And you know what? I got the color right, but that's about it. So, don't trust AI to generate photos of yourselves. So. Also, whatever. Anyway, I just thought it's funny, so we're kicking it up out there. All right, we're going to get ready to talk about basketball. We're down to 2 teams. So, Asheebo and Coach Berry, this is your milieu. This is where you guys know a lot more. I just take the pictures at these games, and we were both at the Northwood versus Seaforth girls game yesterday. But look, you can start wherever you want. So, Asheebo and Coach Berry, go at it.
All right, so I just want to start with last night's scores from the third round. We had 4 different teams in the county competing last night. So starting on the girls' side in the 2-way bracket, we had Seaforth, the biggest game of the night. They beat Northwood 54-36, and we'll get to talking about that and more of that just shortly. Falls Lake beat Chatham Central 54-47, and that one, Chatham Central, I think they led at halftime. They came out to play in that one, played some great defense. Against the number 1 seed there at their place, but they came up short in the fourth quarter. Falls Lake kind of pulled away at the end. And on the boys' side, we had Northwood beating Southeast Alamance 75-52, setting up a date with Farmville Central at Farmville Central on Friday, the number 1 team in the 2A East boys bracket. Coach Berry, I want to start with last night's girls' game. Seaforth and Northwood, definitely the game of the night in Chatham County. You were on the sideline with the Seaforth girls, and in this one, it was a lot different from the conference championship game. A lot of those shots that Northwood was hitting in that game didn't fall in this one. Some different defensive looks. Also, we had Hannah Ajayi going off for 12 points in the. I don't think she had 12 in the first half, but she had 12 for the whole game and didn't miss a shot at all the whole game. So she really helped out on the offensive end, especially that first half with Gabby. She only had 3 points in the first half, but came out in the second half and dropped 17. So what did you see from that game? And, how did Seaforth make this one a lot different from the conference championship game?
Well, first off, I want to congratulate the Northwood Lady Chargers for, having an exceptional year. I think Coach Snipes and their coaching staff with her dad, they really, coach those girls up, develop them, teach them the game the right way, and they had a phenomenal season. This game yesterday, it wasn't easy. It could have, gone either way. Both teams are evenly matched. It just so happened that Seaforth just got the better on that particular night. Similarly, about a week and a half ago, Northwood got the better of Seaforth. And if these teams continue to play, who knows which way the game would go if there was another game tomorrow or another game next week. So, what I would just say is this, the Seaforth girls, they were very motivated because they had lost the last game to Northwood. Also, I think the home field or home court advantage is a big thing. over at Northwood, it's very, very difficult to play in that environment. It's a more intimate environment. It's kind of like a darker, moody kind of thing going on. And if you're not used to playing in that pressure cooker with the crowd going against you, and on the flip side, the Northwood girls get up when they feel that energy from the crowd, it could be a long day at the office, similar to what it was for us the first time we played them. That first half, I mean, Northwood had the lead the first game. The second game we played them at Northwood, they had the lead throughout the entire game. So I think that home field advantage at Northwood is a really, really big thing. And there was a couple of little things that we think contributed to us not necessarily playing the best we can play. But at the end of the day, I think Northwood is a great team. I'm extremely proud of Coach Snipes as well as the entire team. But on the flip side, with the Seaford Lady Hawks, I'm super proud of them as well because they put the work in. They wanted it. Coach Bird laid out an awesome game plan. They stuck with it. And ultimately, throughout the course of the game, it worked out really well. And the Seaford Lady Hawks took on the victory, and they get ready now for the game that's going to be on Friday versus St. Paul's.
Yeah, they'll get St. Paul's again, who they saw in the playoffs last year. They saw them in the season opener this year. So that one should be a good one. And also, another thing I want to talk about from what I noticed last night is, this like Seaford, kind of what we talked about, with a couple of the teams in the county, is they find a lot of different ways, and Seaford has a lot of different ways that they can win, right? And like we were talking about, Gabby, only having 3 points in the first half, but back there, Hannah, I think, had 7 in the first half. You also had Mia Moore knocking down threes, Peyton Collins knocking down threes, and even when Katie Leonard isn't making shots, they have those other pieces that can pick up the slack there. Just kind of how does that, in a way, how does that make Seaford kind of more dangerous of a team to face in the playoffs?
The biggest thing that Seaford does is this: the way they play. It's a recipe to play any team that wants to jump on you and play man to man, try to speed the game up, try to bully you. If you look at the way that team is constructed and the way Seaford plays, you have this. You have Gabby White, you have Katie Leonard. They're the ball handlers. So if you try to press us, that's probably not going to work out real well because you got 2 strong ball handlers. So now you can't overwhelm the ball. When you come out and play as man to man, the problem now is we're going to spread you out. And Gabby White and Katie Leonard are very capable of driving the ball to the rack, get to the rim, and shoot a layup. When they drive to the rack and somebody comes over to double team, they can kick it out to one of the shooters, whether it's Mia Moore, Peyton Collins, Hannah Jai, you have Jocelyn Gessner, Sydney, Ballard can do it. There's a number of girls that can shoot the 3. So now you're in a little bit of a pickle. You can't crowd the ball because we got ball handlers. If they drive the ball, if you don't stop them, they're going to shoot a layup. And if you do get there, we're going to kick it out. Okay, so you go to the next plan. Let's go ahead and play Seaford in a zone. Well, if you play zone, we practice against a zone every day in practice. This is the primary defense that we run. So now all of a sudden, we're very, very, very efficient at chopping up zones, 2-3, 1-3-1, 1-2-2. It doesn't really matter what you play. And we're focused in on team basketball, moving the ball, making certain cuts, setting back screens. We're all on a string. So if your defense in a zone isn't all on a string, moving together in all together in unison, then that's also going to be a problem. So to your point, Asheebo, when the team comes and play us, we have multiple things that we can do to essentially counter anything you try. If you try to go boxing 1, we have a complete set system waiting for people to go a boxing 1 on Gabby White. In fact, it's going to be worse if you go boxing 1 on us because now you're allowing a person like Katie Leonard to run free. And now you're going to have people, flashing all over the place in the paint. One team tried this earlier, and I think they got lit up like 15, 20 points within 4 minutes, and they immediately pulled that boxing 1 off. So, yes, I do think if Seaforth plays smart basketball, move the ball, listen to what the coaches say, focus on defense, keep the ball in front, and attack the glass, the securities, all defensive rebounds. You know what? This is a very, very tough team. But again, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And if the plan is executed, the Seaford Lady Hawks has an opportunity. If they don't execute the plan, then obviously all of this gets thrown out the window, and anybody can come in and beat that team that doesn't do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. And then also, too, you guys went down to the Northwood, on the boys' side, the Northwood game against Southeast Alamance. They pull away in that one, 75-52, a team they've seen multiple times this year in the conference. Kind of what did you guys see from Northwood in that one?
Well, I think Southeast Alamance has gotten progressively better after playing Northwood. They played them the first time, I think they scored 30 points. They played them the second time, they scored a little bit more. They played them the third time in the conference tournament, and they lost a little bit more points. This time, they scored a little bit more points. This time, they scored what? I believe it was 52 points, which was the most they've ever scored against Northwood. In fact, I had a conversation with Southeast Alamance's basketball coach after the game, and he was saying, yeah, Coach Berry, the only reason why we made it this far was because of the games we had played Northwood prior. Northwood made us better. So we were able to beat these higher ranked teams, higher rated seeds. So that got us to this point. So we have a young squad. Our season is over. We're looking forward to getting to the off season, becoming better because of this, and coming back next year stronger than ever before. But relative to the game itself, Northwood is just a better team. They're just a better team. They have more. They have more discipline. They play better, together as a unit offensively. They play better defensively. They can get out in transition. They got multiple guys that can play above the rim. And although Southeast Alamance played Northwood a little bit tougher, I don't think the game was ever in doubt. It was just a matter of time before the clock would get to zero and Northwood would be up by 15, 20, 30 points. And ultimately, if you look at the game, Northwood won the game by 23 points. So it was a well-earned win for Northwood. Drake Powell did his normal thing. You had Fred Whitaker, you had Cam Fowler, you had Jake Layton, you had Bo Harvey, you got Ashton Elliott, you had Hayes Burleson coming off the bench, Chad Graves coming off the bench. You have your usual suspects. They came and essentially dominated the game and won it well-deserved. So hats off to Northwood. On to the next one on Friday against Farmville Central. They call it the Jungle.
Yeah, I'm going to interject here. Yeah, I was at that game too, as you mentioned, Asheebo, and I agree with the coach as to, hey, Northwood had this under control. And I think also Coach Brown was trying out a few different combinations, and also it was also, can I say also as many times as I have, Chad Graves was back in this game because the last couple of games he hasn't been around. Don't know what the situation was, but he was in this game. He had a strong showing. And I think the other thing, and I appreciate you mentioning that you talked to the Southeast Alamance coach afterwards. They seem to, hey, we're going to do what we can. We may not win this game, but we're still going to continue to play hard throughout the game. I mean, they put up some threes. They put in some plays. They did some layups, and they did some things that kept the score close because they could have given up in the third quarter and it would have been all over with, but they kept on persisting. And as you said, there wasn't a question of doubt, but I think it also helps prepare Northwood for the game because Seaforth Girls are going to be playing at home on Friday, and we'll talk about, and you gentlemen can talk about that. But Northwood's going to have to go to Farmville Central. So what's your gentleman's take as to, Farmville Central's, I think, seeded number one, so it's going to be a tough game, and they're playing over there. If they win that game, if both Seaforth and Northwood win on Friday, they get to go to Winston-Salem next Wednesday. Don't have the times on that set yet. Probably won't know that till Friday. What's your take as to what can Northwood do or expect on Friday, and what do they need to do to win that game on Friday? Because it's not going to be an easy game.
The biggest thing that Northwood has to do to compete and ultimately upset Farmville Central is they have to play team ball. We know Drake Powell is going to go out there and do what he does. We know that they're going to load up on him. What I believe is going to happen is this. I believe other players, like the Jake Laytons, like the Cam Fowlers, like the Fred Whitakers, like the Bull Harveys, I believe they're going to have multiple and ample opportunity to contribute in a very positive way because they're going to overlook them to a certain degree. And if these players can continue to do the things that they've done over the last couple of months, deliver, chipping 8 points, chipping 10 points, chipping 5 points, get that steal, dive for a loose ball, get that rebound, communicate, stay in front of the ball, take that charge. If they can all chip in collectively and do those things and play as a team and stick to what Coach Brown's game plan is, I most definitely think they can compete and ultimately pull off the big upset of Farmville Central. I have a lot of faith in what Coach Brown is going to come up with, have a lot of faith in the way Northwood is playing, and I'm a firm believer that as long as they come in there with the belief that they can do it and depend on themselves, come in there in this with this foxhole mentality, right, they can pull it off because nothing, and I mean nothing, is impossible.
Yeah, and also I think their schedule that they've played throughout this whole season has really helped them a lot, right? I mean, this is number one Farmville Central at Farmville Central, but Northwood, they've seen the best of the best in Oregon. They've seen the best of the best here at the John Wall Invitational, and then of course for the past couple Tuesday and Friday nights here in the state playoffs, they've seen each team give them their best at their spot. So I think Northwood is really prepared for this game, and I think, like Gene said, with Chad Graves coming back, that'll be a big addition to have for him down low, and then as well, just that experience of playing really good teams and going in there, like you said, Coach Bear, just playing their game, making sure everyone else is contributing, like the Jake Laytons, the Cam Fowlers. I think this could be. I think it's going to be a really close one. It's going to be a tight one because Farmville Central, of course, they're going to give them their best and try to knock them off at home. But I think it's going to be a close one. It's going to be tight, and I think if Northwood can just make more plays and make more plays defensively, make more shots offensively, it's going to be that type of game where they just have to play their game and just play it straight up and get that win.
Right. So one other point I want to make to piggyback on what you said, Asheebo, was this. You're 100% right. The coaching staff has put the Northwood boys, the Chargers, they put them in a great spot to be ready to play at Farmville Central. They've played 2 state champions when they went out of the state over to Oregon. Yep. They beat the first one and they lost to the second one. Right, they beat the one who was the state champs in Oregon, and they lost to the state champs in California. Then they came back around that Christmas tournament, and they played Reedsville, who I believe is undefeated to this as we speak right now. Then on top of that, we came back and played Myers Park. So these are the best of the best, the top of the food chain type teams, and Northwood has played 4 of them, and gave them a lot of experience. So now when they go over to Farmville Central, this is not going to be something that's foreign to them because they are used to playing teams at that upper echelon. And I personally believe, it's going to be a pick'em game as long as the Northwood Chargers come in there with a belief in themselves and play as a team and execute the game plan. So let's go Chargers. Let's go ahead and get it done.
Yeah, and where Reedsville led, they're kind of a guard-led team with MJ Williams, Tyler Whitehurst. I think if we've seen with Coach Brown, he likes to put Drake on their best player and totally shut them down. I think if they're able to do that, identify who Drake should cover in this game and have everyone else defending their guys, I think they'll be in really great shape to pull off the upset. But and then again, the whole thing about being in close games too. They've been in close games all throughout this year. If you look outside their conference schedule, and they have won some of those close games as well. Like we saw it against Richmond at the John Wall Invitational. So yeah, this team is they're like we said, they're ready for this moment. So I don't think they're going to go in there jittery, nervous. I think they're going to go in there like this is a regular Friday night. Only thing is they have to make that long drive, which may make a difference, but. I think Northwood is in great shape to do it.
Well, similar to the girls, man, I because I heard the girls went the night before when they played East Carteret.
I got to correct that. They actually didn't go the night before. They stayed the night of the game.
Oh,
So
I got you. I got you.
yeah,
I got you. So even with that said, listen, I would look at this as like a field trip, a field trip. And, it's like, hey, we're going to leave at 12 noon, 1 o'clock. We're going to get on the bus. We're going to go get some food. I might even find a spot where like a lounge where the guys can relax, maybe rent out a high school gym, get some shots up. I don't want these guys like bus lagged at all, sitting on the bus for an hour and a half, kind of out their routine, have to go to the facility to get some shots up. No, I want them to have their own facility. I want them getting there 2, 3, 4 hours early. I want you to have the team meal. I want everything perfect. So that when you walk in there, there's no other reason for us to have any bad day other than our play. I don't want it to be because there's other circumstantial things that's going on. So hopefully they do something like that and leave extremely early.
Yeah, and then also I want to talk about the Seaforth girls too, because they're playing the familiar opponent in St. Paul's. Like we said, we saw them last year in the playoffs. Saw them first game this year. I mean, what's the key here for Seaforth in this one? Because like you said, they're going to be at home, so the Hawks don't have to worry about the travel. But St. Paul's does remember those 2 games.
Well, first and foremost, I actually think that the number one thing that the Seaford Lady Hawks cannot do is take this team for granted. Last year, when we played them in the playoffs, we took this team extremely serious. It went back and forth. We ended up winning the game 5-10 points. We got the W. Going into this year, we played them very early in the season, first or second game. And, we were a little concerned about them coming into this game. They had our undivided attention. And we went in there and pretty much had our way with them, beating them by 20, 30 points. So now going into the third game, it's now easy to start taking this team for granted, when in reality is this team has a lot of motivation to come in there and give us their best shot. Plus, when you factor in, they beat the number 2 seed and they beat a few other teams that was higher ranked than them as well in their gym. So St. Paul's coming into Seaforth gym this week is a scary proposition, because if we don't get up for that game, if we don't take them serious, it's very possible that they can give us way more than what we bargained for. Now, to your point, Asheebo, I started watching film on St. Paul's last night and this morning. And in looking at it, they have 3 solid guards. They like to play a helter-skelter style of basketball, running up and down, throwing up threes. They kind of do all kind of junk defenses, box at 1, triangle 2. They kind of have all kind of things that they'll throw at you to get you to speed the game up, to muddy or to ugly the game. So the key for Seaford is this: don't allow this team to muddy the game up, because the more muddier it is, the more dirtier it is, the more helter-skelter it is, this increases their chances of being able to beat Seaforth, because that's the kind of players that they have. So it's going to be critical for Seaforth to make this team play what I call a professional, adult, high IQ basketball game. And if we can force them to play our style of basketball, make them think a little bit, then I think the percentages greatly goes into our favor. So we'll see what happens on Friday.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that the first game this year against St. Paul's. Yeah, like you said, I think their guard, her name is Jajante Harris. She likes to throw it up. She'll make some. She can also get to the basket, get some looks. So I mean, but Seaforth, like y'all pride yourselves on defense, and I think if they take care of their game on defensive end, turnovers out the press, heavy ball pressure out the zone, I think Seaforth does get the win in this one, and I like them because they're also at home. But yeah, so also too, Gene, did you want to go ahead and start wrapping up?
I'll say one more thing here with the St. Paul's team. The biggest thing for us is we need to stay in front of the ball. If we stay in front of the ball, force them to shoot contested shots, whether it's a contested mid range or two or a contested three, keep in front of us. Second thing, when the ball goes up, make sure that we secure the rebound. I'm not 100% sure they're going to try to press us. I've looked at some film and they've decided not to press a lot of the other teams that we've actually saw, but we don't really care if they press one way or the other. On the defense or the offensive end for Seaforth, the biggest thing is you want to make them guard. You want to make them guard. Again, where you can get yourself in trouble with a team like St. Paul's is this. You go up the court and you hack a shot up with 0 to 1 pass. If you do that, then you miss it, then they get it, then they run up the court, and then now they hacking up a three, and they might make theirs. Or they'll run right to the rim. They'll dribble right to the rim and throw up a shot. They might make it. They might get fouled. They might go to the free throw line. We're in foul trouble. Now we're starting to get gas. We're getting a little bit frustrated. All of a sudden, the game is tight, and it's the third or fourth quarter. Now it's anybody's game. I don't like a lot of drama. I like to go ahead and get in there, handle our business, get up by 15, 20, 30 points, and let's sit back and have some cigars. That's sort of what we want to do. We don't want to be playing games like that. So our goal is to go in there, play our style of basketball, try to get a lead. And once we get the lead, then you force them to go more and more out of character and do more and more dumb things. And then the lead just get extended. And then we off to the semifinals. And that's ultimately what the Seaford Lady Hawks will attempt to do against the St. Paul's High School basketball team. Only time will tell. Friday, 6 p.m., Seaford High School. Don't miss it.
Yep.
All right, and yeah, Sheila, you're right. We're about getting ready to wrap it up, which means we want to let folks know where we're going to be over the next 7 days. I know where Coach Barry's going to be on Friday at 6 o'clock. He's going to be sitting there on the bench with the team, and that's at Seaforth. That should be a good game, folks. You need to come out. If you missed the Northwood versus Seaforth girls game, that was a fun game. Good crowd over there. Asheebo, where are you going to be at?
I'm actually going to make the drive to Farmville Central on Friday. So I'll be live reporting on Twitter on that one. Can't miss that one. And then tomorrow, I also want to update you guys on the boys volleyball situation at Jordan Matthews. So they did not play Tuesday night against I think Apex was supposed to be their opening game. So that one got postponed, but they are supposed to be playing Carborough at Carborough High School tomorrow at 4:30. So if you want to see the first boys volleyball game here in Chatham County, especially here at JM, come up to Carborough tomorrow at 4:30. And if that game still is on tomorrow, I will be there as well.
All right, Coach Barry.
I'll definitely be at Seaforth on Friday when we host the St. Paul's ladies team. If there was a way I could make that Northwood game, I would be there as well, but I don't think the time is going to allow me to do it. And then depending upon what happens with those two games, I'll be at either one of those games or both. Even if for whatever reason things don't work out, I'll still be there. I'm still going to check things out. I'm going to watch this thing play out until next Saturday when the championship game kicks in. That's where I'll be at, folks.
All right. Well, Coach Barry, I'm going to probably be with you on Friday. Asheebo, you're going to have to. I'm going to keep an eye on your Twitter feed, Asheebo R38, because it's my daughter's birthday and we're celebrating this weekend. It's Alec Fest 2025. So I think I can come out and shoot the Seaforth girls game, but I'm not going to be able to drive 2 hours to cover the boys game. Now, I assume all of us, if both teams win or one of the teams win, we'll be out at Winston-Salem next Wednesday. That's my plan. Don't have the times for that yet because North Carolina High School Athletic Association has not announced those times yet. I checked yesterday. They might announce it today, but my gut is going to tell me they'll probably announce it by Friday as to which teams are playing when on next Wednesday, because that's when the 2A girls and boys are playing Winston-Salem. They're going to kind of Final Four type of designation. It's not all over the state. It's just in one location over at the Coliseum in Winston-Salem. And then you mentioned Asheebo. Tomorrow's that volleyball game. I'm not going to be able to do that, but again, follow your feed. I will follow your feed to see that, because first volleyball game in Chatham County with boys, and with the soccer players playing, it should be interesting. Gentlemen, anything else to finish up this week?
Nope.
No, sir.
All right, folks, I want to thank you again for watching. Just remember, for those of you who are early enough here, you know who I want as the next C4 basketball coach. We're not going to say his name. But hey, we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks for watching. The other thing, too, is we don't know. Next week, we may be on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. It all depends, because if C4 girls make it, Coach Barry's going to be tied up. And part of the conversation here that I get a lot of feedback back on is Coach Barry and Asheebo just talking basketball. Again, a lot of spring sports coming up after that. Daylight savings time starts this Sundays, which I love, because that means I get to spend more time taking pictures in good lighting in the early evening. So, folks, thank you very much. We'll see. I'll put out a notice as to when we're going to do the sports update. We'll probably have that notice out by Friday. Thank you very much. We're going to end this stream now.